Greetings, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. I don't know where you are, but greetings. I'm super excited to be talking about the topic that I'm talking about today. If you look on it, I'm sure it sounds a little bit or iffy, but trust me, when I finish explaining what I'm going to explain, you're going to understand why I feel excited talking about it. Hi, Carrie. Thanks for joining. How are you? I just had this light bulb moment, this thought that had me thinking, heck, I've got to share this because it might help one or two people. And if it doesn't instantly help you and you want me to walk you through it and help you see the positive side to the message I'm talking about, then hey, why not link up with me? The topic I've put is victims and survivors of domestic violence are the most creative people I know. Yes, please. Thanks, Carrie. Do share. I think it's important that people hear this because it actually empowered me at some point when it used to crush me. So I want people to hear about it and maybe think about it, help themselves. Yeah. When you think about domestic violence, the last post I put on my group, thank you, I appreciate it. I was just saying the post I put on my group about domestic violence, I think about a week or so ago, almost 2 weeks, was about how good abusers are at apologizing. Seemingly apologizing, but in a sneaky way, making you look bad, making you look like you're the one that's wrong. And I've been thinking about that. And from a personal experience, I've been thinking, how did I survive those things? And I realized I got very creative. And I've also then thought about the people that I've come across. You know, when they say birds of the same feather flock together, because I've been a victim and I'm a survivor, I have come across a lot of people who've been victims and people who are survivors. And when we talk about our stories, and I'm reflecting now, I've actually realized that we are very creative. We became very creative. Maybe we were not born creative, but we became creative from the fact that we had to tap into our survival instinct a lot. And when you want to survive, trust me, you get creative. And why I'm talking about this today is I want to encourage you to introspect. Look back, look within, reflect on your creativity, surviving in a violent or abusive environment when you were in it, and for those that have survived, when you came out of it. I think you had to be quite creative to survive. You had to be quite creative to be able to come out of it. And I think the reason why we don't value or even realize that we are creative is because we are being creative from a very painful side of life, from a very scary side of life. But today I want to talk about how you can actually flip the coin of creativity and use that learned skill of being creative to being creatively progressive and productive, and even better still, be able to help other people with that creativity. And I'm gonna share three creative ways that I survived while I was in the abusive setting, and when I came out of it. And maybe that will help you understand why I'm excited about saying this. Because, generally speaking, domestic violence is nothing to be excited about. It's a painful experience. It's an experience that destroys more than it helps. But once you survive it, it can be even more destructive if you can't figure out the now what from it. And I think your now what can be highly facilitated by those skills of being creative that you learned while you were in the situation. So I'll tell you three creative ways that I survived while I was in it, that probably made me look really good to onlookers when I was actually crushing inside. Number one, I started working very hard. And I worked so hard that I had no time to think about the horrible things that were happening to me on the home front. Now, in the work environment, I became an asset. Everybody I worked with knew Farisai works hard. And if she says she's going to do something, she's going to give it her all. And that means effort, time. I would spend a lot of time learning about what I needed to do, researching about what I needed to do, and then practicing what I needed to do, and then doing it at the very best of my capability, having taken those steps to prepare myself. So, yeah, employers, work colleagues, obviously probably thought she loves her job very much. Employers would think she is an asset because she's getting us progress. But I'll tell you why I would call that a creative survival skill. I was being very hardworking and being thorough and detailed because it gave me something to occupy my mind so that I wouldn't think too much about what was happening to me. I wouldn't think too much about the abuse that I was going through. I wouldn't think too much about the sadness, the fear, and the damage that was happening at home. And by working hard and putting more time into my work, I was also spending more time away from the home front, if that makes sense, which means I wasn't then exposing myself to the abuse too much. Isn't that creative? It killed two birds with one stone for me. One, career-wise, I progressed. I learned a lot. And two, I was able to remove myself, even though temporarily, from the abusive setting. And the second creative way I survived domestic violence. I've talked about the one situation that I struggled with, but I'm telling you today, I had a vicious cycle of getting into repetitive abusive relationships because, like I said, birds of the same feather flock together. You kind of gravitate towards what's inside you. In a twisted way, I always found myself in relationships with people who were almost exactly the same because I wasn't dealing with what was happening. So anyway, the second way I creatively survived that was whenever I felt like, okay, I've done it again, I'm now under abuse again, and I need to get the hell out of it, I would move. But the way I moved was creative. I mean, I was working, I had skills that people would want. So looking for a job in a different place, in a different town, in a different country even, wasn't that difficult for me because my CV spoke volumes. So I would, as soon as I thought, this is too much for me, I need to run away, I need to get away, I would look for another job. I wouldn't tell anybody that's what I was doing, but I would look for another job in a different town, sometimes in a different country. And then I would all of a sudden move. And the way I moved, I would make it look like it was an adventure. I would make it look like I was exploring opportunities, exploring standards. And so people wouldn't actually know that I was on the run. I was running away from an abusive situation. I was running away from a domestic environment that was damaging me. So, yeah, I made moving from one place to another a second creative way of coping with abuse and domestic violence. That's number 2. Number 3, I decided I would act so happy. I would act like my life was up there when it was down there, and I would perfect my look by dressing up, always making sure my hair is slick, my clothes are properly coordinated, the mix match is perfect. And back then I used to make sure that I'm wearing designer clothes, shoes, handbags, my hair. I would spend so much money every week on my hair, and so look the perfect professional, happy go-getter kind of person. And people wouldn't have suspected. Even as I speak, like right now, a lot of people always get surprised to hear. Now that I'm out of it, I'm able to talk about me being in an environment that was abusive, and actually even own up to the fact that I had a repetitive cycle of doing it, going from one abusive relationship to the next. But I was very well able to cover it because I got very creative about it. So I made myself look, the perfect picture of a woman on the go, on the achievement, the happy go-getter. But I was not happy. So 3 ways I had many, I could write a book. 3 ways that I've just shared here. And I'll tell you why these did not serve me. 1, the working hard bit. It served the employers I worked for. It served my work colleagues, because a lot of times I ended up doing more than I should have been doing. A lot of times I ended up doing the jobs that other people should have been doing with me, because I thought they were not doing them to the standards that I've learned to do them. But I was making it easy for the work colleagues while putting myself in line of ending up crashing, burning out, or actually damaging my physical health and my mental health. And for the employers, I was an asset because I was productive. I got results. But this was detrimental to my own self because I wasn't enjoying it, for starters. 2, I ended up actually needing to work as hard so that I could feed and maintain that picture of perfection that I was painting to people. That picture costs money, people. Trust me, it costs money. So I ended up, even if I didn't want to work hard, I ended up having to actually work as hard, even when I was tired, so that I can maintain that pattern. That's how it was negative to me. And 2, the one way I was on the run but appearing adventurous, how it was negative for me was the fact that I never actually got grounded in one place long enough to build meaningful relationships with anybody. And relationships are not only about falling in love with a guy or getting married, it's about building friendships that are long term. And when you have good long term relationships or friendships with people, it means you have a support system, you have a support network, and you can bounce off your energies with other people. You can help each other achieve certain things. You don't always have to do things by yourself, for yourself. You can actually collaborate with friends, you can collaborate with family, with work colleagues. You build strong relationships that way. I actually can say I lost my relationship with my family from this globe trotting, running away, going from place to place. Because even though I painted a picture that I was adventurous, some people didn't understand why I would make progress with relating with them, building a relationship with them, and then all of a sudden run away from it, remove myself from it, walk away from it. Like, for example, family didn't understand why I was always moving. And I actually know I upset my family a lot by being this person who had these skills that could help my family, but then I stripped that off them by stepping away and always shifting goalposts. They couldn't understand that, and I think it made me look a bit selfish. I can acknowledge it now, and and feel a little bit bad about it, but I'm still excited talking about this subject. So yeah, I'll continue. So me running away, globetrotting, was not helping me in that I wasn't cementing any relationships anywhere at all. I was almost like probably, maybe, shall I say, a model walking on a catwalk. Yes, you do the walk and everybody's like, wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. Everybody is applauding you, admiring you. But then you step off that catwalk and you go home and you go away, and they talk about you maybe for a week or two or whatever length of time. But then because you're no longer there, they soon forget. And when you step off that catwalk and you're back in your house, you are actually back to the same toxicity that you're running away from. While you've entertained people, you've given them something to be excited about, you've given them something to be hopeful for your next catwalk, but it's actually at your disadvantage because it's not giving you the joy. And then the last creative survival skill that I talked about, where I acted happy all the time and I dressed myself all the time and painted this picture perfect image of me. How it was detrimental to me was that it costed me a lot of money. It got me into debt, which I'm still, trying to sort out. I'm almost there. Thank God for that. But that journey has not been fun, trust me. And it actually pushed me to the brink of death, because I ended up having a crash. I ended up burning out. And worse still, I ended up in a massive car accident that almost took my life. And that actually kind of destroyed my mobility. I was at some point told you're never gonna walk without aids, but I've put up that fight and I walk very well now. But I still have pains here and there. People know that the last 2 weeks I've been kind of off because I've not been well. I have my highs and lows. I have my ups and downs in terms of pain. I can do just one wrong move and it triggers it, and then I have to work at it again to get back to normal. And this is how that creative survival skill was detrimental to me. So I've talked about the three, and I'm going to now talk about why I'm excited talking about it today. When I learned that these tactics, these skills, these creative ways of survival that I was working with were not helping me, I had to make that bold decision to resolve it. Trust me, it's not easy, because when you then become realistic with yourself and you paint that whole picture to yourself, you look at it and you think, my God, how did I end up with all this? And you actually wonder, how have I been able to juggle it? And you know you need to change, but you're thinking, where do I even start? How do I manage this? Can I do it? I was lucky, I was blessed that I had a few people that helped me, because I'm one of those people who speaks out. I'm not embarrassed to talk about my weaknesses, and I tend to, put myself out there, make myself look very stupid sometimes, make myself vulnerable sometimes, show my weaknesses to people, because that's the only way people can see that you're actually struggling and you need help. So at that point, I did put myself out there to certain people, to a lot of people actually, and some made fun of me, some laughed at me, some had fun at my expense, saying things like, yeah, you we used to think that you were all that, and now it turns out it was all just a farce, it was all just a thing, it was all just an act. Some people actually were happy to see that I wasn't up there as they thought, and it was a good thing for them to think, actually, you're just like us. Or maybe even I was worse than some people. And, it might have been good for some people, but the blessing that I got from putting myself out there without the masks that I'd been wearing is that I managed to get a few people that were willing to help me. I had one person that was willing to listen to me without judging, without telling me what to do. And I had one person that would kick my backside into action, because every time I talked to her about these things, we used to discuss, so what do I do to get over it, to get out of it? And she would push, even when I was like, I can't get out of bed, this is just too much for me, it's too painful, I don't think I can do it. And she used to say to me, if you can think it, if you can conceive it in your head, it means you can do it, and I'm gonna push you until you've done it. And she would ask me, why can't you do it? And what, try this, try that. And yeah, that was the second type of help I got. And then the third type of help was one person who said to me, you need to realize that there is power in that downfall that you've been through. That rock bottom that you reached when you were in the car accident, it was an awakening moment. Make it work for you. Let's break it down. Let's look at the power behind it, and let's flip the coins. I learned a whole lot from that person, asking questions all the time, and she taught me how to ask myself questions and how to ask other people questions, and she inspired me into becoming a coach. And today, that's why I'm excited talking about the creativity that I learned is a survival skill for myself while I was in the middle of domestic violence, while I was in the middle of abusive relationships. And so now, today, I'm excited talking about it, because I'm telling you, young lady, older lady, middle-aged lady, trust me, it took me 31 years, of struggling with it to then come out of it. And I'm saying it's never too late. If you can realize it when early enough, you can get help. If you can realize it somewhere in the middle of your journey in life, you can still get help. you can realize it later in life. I'm in my 40s, and some people might then have been saying to you, oh, it's too late. It's too late to step out of it. And a lot of people will say, think of your children. You can't walk out now because you're depriving your children of a father. No, you're not. Stepping out of an abusive relationship doesn't necessarily have to mean you are taking your children away from their dad. No, there are ways around it. And in any case, just because you and your partner, your husband, cannot bring the best out of each other, doesn't necessarily mean that the other half becomes bad for the children. So there's ways of working around that. But this would be what some people use as their reason for staying stuck in an abusive relationship. Or it's for my kids. It's not. Staying in an abusive relationship when there's children involved is actually detrimental to you and the children. And it's worse for the children because they didn't ask to be in that scenario, and they rely on you to take care of them. And if you're keeping them in that toxic environment, you're not really taking care of them, are you? So anyway, back to what I was saying. I'm excited talking about these things today because I want to help women who probably feel stuck in that rut of being in an abusive relationship, or women who have come out of it but are now thinking, hell, what now? You can work with the skills, the creative skills that you used as survival mechanisms while you were in it. You can work with them to now establish yourself. You can work with them to now build yourself up. You can work with them to work collaboratively with somebody else or with other people as your way forward. And I would like to help with that because I've been on that journey. You can do it on your own, but believe it or not, it's hard and it takes longer. Collaboration shortens things. It simplifies things. It helps you. It makes things easier. So yeah, I would like to help. And if I'm resonating with you right now, if I'm touching something in your situation right now, and you feel I can help you, I'm here. Contact me. Message, messenger, text, WhatsApp, or just put a comment in the comment sector. Ask me to reach out to you. I will reach out to you. There are a lot of women out there like me who are going on with their lives, who have stepped out of domestic violence, and they're carrying on with their lives, but are still putting the pieces together and struggling with it because it's a journey. It's not a one-day thing. It's not an instant thing. It's a journey. But I think the journey is simplified and made easier if you share that journey with somebody, and I'd like to do that. I've just told you I shared my journey with some people who've helped me to be where I am today. One lady I will mention who has been really helpful on this journey has been Helen Brewster. She's a mentor, she's a coach. I met her from a professional perspective. I was trying to come out of that perfectionist, professional kind of person into being a person that actually enjoys my job, enjoys my work, rather than doing it to score points. But she ended up coaching me and mentoring me into other areas of my personal life This is the interesting thing about life. Everything is interlinked. And I really am grateful for that lady. She taught me how to help myself, and I would like to help somebody to help themselves as well. And there's another lady who is actually here, Carrie Mussington. I haven't known her very long, but since I've met her, since I've started following what she does, trust me, I'm becoming a very different person. Like I said, I'm still on a journey, but every time I watch her videos, every time I read her messages, and every time I even remember the conversations we've had, I know there's a way out. I know you can always come out of the rut. I know there's always a way forward. There is no such thing as rock bottom is permanent. That's one piece of message I've picked from her, that you can hit rock bottom of the worst kind and still be able to rise. I really hope I'm gonna do some more work with her. I look forward to that. And I'm saying this live. Thank you, Carrie. You don't sing your name out loud enough, and I'm singing it today. I appreciate you. I haven't known you very long, but you've made an impact in my life. And I know you make an impact in a lot of people's lives. Following you, I can see it. And yeah, I'm on a journey. I'm so happy that you are somewhere in the picture. Let me just look at messages and comments here. Yeah, and you're right, Carrie. Men too. Yes, that's very true. This whole thing that I've been talking about, it's not just men who go, it's not just women who go through it, men as well. I'd say probably I should have said humanity. When you're going through tough times, you get creative. Everybody has been given that capacity, but without somebody pointing it out to you, sometimes you are very creative and you don't actually know. You don't actually realize how creative you are. And I think talking about it helps people to maybe say, wait a minute. The three that I've shared probably got you thinking, wait a minute. So I am actually creative. Many people have told me I'm not creative. And I always say, but you are. You just need to explore it. You just need to yeah, I know you're still surviving. You're doing a very good job of it. It's a journey. Like I said, it's a journey. There's nothing instant about surviving. There's nothing instant about progress. Any kind of progress is a journey. And I guess we are both on that journey. But what I like is what I really like about you is you didn't wait for your own perfection to start helping people. You've shared your journey of survival with people so that they would be motivated to also step out and step into the journey. And that's what I'm passionate about as well. Sharing my own journey with as many people as I possibly can, even if it's one, if it's two, if it's a million. Yeah, share that journey so that the more people I motivate, the more people get out of that rat race of being stuck in the vicious cycle of domestic violence. Next month, October, is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and this is why this is really upfront in my heart, in my mind, and in my day-to-day at the moment, because I think October we're gonna need to build more awareness on the subject. We're gonna need to talk more about that subject, and we're gonna need to do more work around it, and start a revolution of surviving. Start a revolution of going beyond just surviving, actually establishing the new you outside of domestic violence. I had intended this to be a short message, but yeah, it's ended up being longer than I had intended. I repeat again, please get in contact with me if you're struggling. Don't struggle on your own. And Carrie is another lady. Follow her. She runs. I should have worn the t-shirt. Hello. She runs what is called Mom Project. And that project, I think it has saved a lot of lives. It's in the process of saving more lives. And if you follow her, trust me, you will remember me. You will be thankful that I actually have mentioned her. She's a powerful woman. Follow her. Together, we can make a difference in all our lives. And even though you might at the moment still be struggling with your own situation, trust me, just sharing your journey with somebody will help somebody. As Carrie has just said, she's still surviving. She's still on that journey, but she's already impacting lives. And she has been impacting lives for a while now. She's just shared her the name of her project, the name which is called Mom Project Suicide Prevention. She doesn't just focus on the suicide prevention bit. Suicide is one of the major outcomes of being stuck in a violent situation, a violent relationship, a violent domestic situation. A lot of people, if they can't talk about it, if they're not comfortable or confident talking about what they're going through, and if they don't get help, the longer they stay in it, the more they start to feel like, what's the point? And they end up attempting to, and then accidentally committing suicide, or actually intentionally doing it because they feel they've become too tired of the rat race. And that's what I don't want. I don't wish that on anybody. And that's why I'm talking about this today. Those creative ways that you've used to survive your situation, be it for a week, a month, a year, years, they can be your tools for flipping the coin. And if that sounds like an impossibility, I'm telling you, with help, it's possible. So reach out is what I'm encouraging you. Thanks for joining, Carrie. I saw another lady that joined. I couldn't get the name. Thanks for joining. And if you're going to watch after, please share this message. Different perspectives of looking at domestic violence gets people looking at different possibilities of coming out of it, of surviving it, of dealing with it, and of progressing thereafter. So share this video if you can, if you don't mind. Share it wherever you can share it and get the message out there. And if you have any of your own input that you would like to put out there, here on my page is a platform where you can share. I'm inviting you to share. Even if it's not about domestic violence directly, if you have skills that can help people to progress and to rise above their challenges of domestic violence, please share it here. This message is not only out to people who are actually struggling with domestic violence. Everybody gets affected somehow, directly or indirectly. And I think we should work together to address it and remove it out of the picture so that we can all progress and be happier Thanks for joining again, Kerry. Have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend. I don't always manage to join you when you're live because my time is a bit, when you're trying to negotiate work and, establishing yourself business-wise, time can be all over the place. But I actually watch your videos after, and I tend to share them on my Road to Recovery group, because I have more following there. I need to start remembering to share your messages on here, Community Integration Hub, because that's where I think I want to build a stronger following, a stronger and bigger family, so we can actually dissect different aspects of community lives, be it the good and the bad. That's the point of the Community Integration Hub. I want everybody to be integrated, working together, enjoying together. And yes, Kerry has just shared her YouTube channel in the comments. Please follow that. Watch some of her videos. They will encourage you. They will empower you. Thanks for joining Evangelist Brain Mashaure. Thank you. You've just joined when I was just finishing off, but I'll just maybe do a summary of what I was talking about, and I'll encourage you to watch the whole video when I've saved it. I'm going to keep it on this platform. Watch it, and if you can relate to it, please comment. If you have any contributions to it, please share in the comment section. If you want to have a talk about it, let's get it happening on this platform. And if you know somebody who might benefit from what I've just shared, then share the video, share the message, and encourage them to actually follow on this page so that they can actually look at the other content I've been sharing about domestic violence, about surviving. As a mindset transformation coach, look at different areas of their struggle from creative perspectives that can help them come out of it. And I'm putting myself out there to be your go-to person, and I can help you out with that. So yes, Evangelist Brian Mashaure, thanks for joining. I appreciate you joining in. Have a lovely Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and I wish you a productive new week starting Sunday. Be blessed. Love always. Bye. Bye, Kerry. Let's link up at some point.